said stuff behind my back. Come on, you know we've all been there. And says, sure, stay as long as you want. Yeah, and then after 3 months, they're like, and we were both coming to jobs at the time. Now that's another door that opens. And even the journey, we came in the 63 Ford Fairlane, okay? And with just the clothes on our backs. Nothing else. I sold everything. And of course, like a lot of relationships, you have problems in the marriage. But I had made the decision that I was doing this with or without it. I remember my mom telling me, you know, he'll be back in a year. He can't be without his family. Like, well, he's coming by himself because I ain't coming back. Okay. Of course, and so we drove in a 63 Ford Fairlane with just the clothes on our back. I was prepared and ready for this journey of where I was supposed to go. Now, of course, being an out-of-state student, I had to wait a year so I wouldn't get out-of-state tuition.
Oh, yeah.
So I did. And then I remember going to City College. Now, my brother, Andres, who has been my inspiration, took me literally by the hand. Come on, Stella, this is where you have to go. And here's the classes you have to get. And then when I'm thinking, sweet, he's helping me doing it, he kind of let me go. I go, wait, not yet. He's like, no, it's time to go. And I remember still feeling that I shouldn't be there. That this wasn't my place to be there. And I remember standing in the line, and there's these two big old, I was standing in the line and I'm not sure what it was for, maybe financial aid or something. But I'm standing in front of these two big, what look like football players to me. Okay. And feeling, they weren't doing anything. They were talking about, yeah, the party tomorrow and this weekend. And they weren't doing anything to me. But I remember them standing behind me and me feeling that I didn't belong there. This is not where I'm supposed to be. And it came from all the insecurities of being told so many years that college was not for me. But I remember even if I took the lower English and the lower math classes, I remember that every time I passed a class, I was like, sweet. On to the next one. On to the next one. Because eventually I'm going to finish here. And I remember being on aid, on welfare, on food stamps, and back in those days, like, a long time ago, they had a program called the GAIN program. And the GAIN program helped you for 2 years. So I was just going to go for my 2-year degree. That would be it. And then I said, all of a sudden, I said, you know what? I want a bachelor's degree. And they told me, well, if you go on for your bachelor's, we're not going to help you. We're not going to help you pay books. I said, then I don't need your help. How can you not encourage people to move forward if you know that they're going on for a higher education? How could you not help them? And mind you, I was going to be a lawyer. Because that's what my brother said, be a lawyer. But I knew in my heart it's not what I wanted to do. I knew that what I wanted to do was work with people. I just didn't know what capacity. Okay. At City College, they have the Career Counseling Center. They have all the majors. And one day I spent a day and I was going through all the majors and everything. And I came across human services. Yay! And I thought, right there and then is where I felt it in my heart. Is what I wanted to do. Now, I didn't know everything that came to be a human services. Okay. I'm like, this is what I want to do. They're going to work with people. They're going to work with this, community. And I think back through my journey, why social work? Even though my mom and I didn't have the best relationship, but she was always helping people without ever expecting anything in return. When you grow up poor and someone dies, I remember one time someone died in my family. I think it was one of my cousin's daughters. There's none of this extra money. And I remember my mom making pots of beans and rice and serving in the parking lot of the funeral home for all the family that was there. You did what you had to do. My mom was always doing things like that. My mom used to take care of, she was a caretaker. She used to take care of retired nuns. Or she lived in someone's house to take care of them. She took the bus at night to get to her job. I come from a family of 8. From the time I was the 6th child, my parents getting divorced, I've now become the oldest. Now I have 2 siblings under me that at 12, I've now had to become an adult. So when I look at that journey and say, it's not been an easy journey. But what I realized when I started college, remember when I talked about that missing puzzle piece in your life? I saw my life as a puzzle. And it's missing a piece. Okay, it's missing a piece in order for your puzzle to be complete. What I realized when I started seeing that going to college was the puzzle piece of my life that I was missing. Now my puzzle is complete. Now, of course, that's what I thought. Because we think that once we get our degree, we're like done, right? No. Ooh, I worked hard for our degree. Ooh, I got an MSW. I'm done. As you can see right here, we're not done. Our work is just beginning. With our families, with our children, with our individuals. Yes, we've climbed those hills, we've climbed those mountains. Yes, we've come a long way, but our work is just starting. Believe this or not, okay, I was a shy person. I was. People were like, Actually, in high school, I didn't have friends. I didn't have, you know how you have a bunch of girlfriends and you hang out. You grew up in a Christian home. We do the, you're not allowed to go out. You're not allowed to wear pants. As you can see, that didn't work. You become a little defiant. But I didn't. I didn't have a lot of these friends. I kept to myself. People tell me, I can't believe that you were that type of a person. I said, who I was. We didn't have, we weren't allowed to hang out with, the neighborhood, the neighbor kids and all of that. And then being in a domestic violence relationship, of course, that changes as well, too. The whole dynamics of you can't go here or this, that. You're nobody, you're not worth it, and all of this. So you start to believe all of that. Okay, so you close. So I didn't have, and then getting, becoming a mom at 17, it's like your whole life just kind of changed. Now, my son is now going to be 38 years old, so I look at that and I'm very grateful to have the one child that I did. Now, when I was at City College, and I was just talking to my sister about this last night, is about I didn't like getting up in front of the class at all. Yeah, no. When I was at City College, I took a speech class, and for whatever reason, I took the wrong one. Maybe that was part of my journey. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I thought I was taking the argue and debate class. What I ended up taking was personal speech. which I had to get up in front of the class and do speeches. And I remember going to and shaking and sweating, just, oh my Lord. And so I remember being told that we had to do a speech on describing something to the crowd as if they were blind. And I remember thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I remember doing the things, okay, I'm not stereotyping, but it's kind of sort of true. Women like to shop. So what did I do my speech on? A purse. From the measurements to the handle to the dimensions and all of that. And the crowd was able to know what it is, right? The next speeches we had to talk about something. I thought, well, you know, I'll talk about San Antonio. I know a little bit about San Antonio. It's where I grew up. And so I decided to talk about San Antonio. And you know that Pace commercial, you know, they talk about Pace commercial and the guy gets some kind of generic one. And it said, get a rope to hang up. I found humor in my presentations. And so that's why now I do a little bit of humor. Kind of breaks the ice. But what I realized that by taking that class, I now look at where I am today. And where I started as a high school dropout. And how I worked for Stanislaus County as a social worker. I worked in the hospital setting with HIV and AIDS families. I've worked with the Central Training Academy to train and mentor social workers. I was a director of a foster family agency. And now I'm with the Title IV program at the university. To me, I feel I have arrived. Have you arrived? Is there work that you still need to do? Because I think that we all do. I remember being in the BSW program, my brother being in the MSW program at the same time. And he takes me and introduces me to, at the time, was working Title IV, which is the coordinator of the Title IV program now, Corinne Willis. Oh, Corinne, I want you to meet my sister. I'm barely transferring from City College, okay? Barely. He introduces me to Corinne, and the first thing that Corinne says, so you're coming into the MSW program, aren't you? I'm just saying that, what do we say? Sure. Not a problem. I remember leaving the building and saying, who was that? Who was that? Oh, that's Corinne. She's wonderful. She's a wonderful mentor. What I came to see was that Corinne turned out to be my mentor. And now to work side by side with her, for me, it's such an accomplishment. That for me in my journey, I have done the full circle. Is my work fit done? No, by no means. There's more work that we need to do. But I've come full circle from a young teen mom, high school dropout. When you work with your families, when you work with your children, when you work with your individuals, it's so important to not forget what your journey has been. Don't forget those struggles that you have lived through. Don't forget that pain. Don't forget the tears that you have lived and felt from the bottom of your soul. Don't forget those. It's also important that don't forget what their journey is, what their journey has been, or what their journey will be. We sometimes as social workers get so caught up in, oh my God, I have this case, I have that. Yes. Are we perfect? By no means. Is social work a difficult place to be? Yes. But you have to ask yourself, at the end of the day, why are you there? Why did you go into social work? Why? That's to provide a service to the families that you're going to be working with. It's so important to ask yourself at the end of each day, as a social worker, did I do everything I can for that family today? Our work is never finished. Our work's going to continue all the time. But for that day, did you do everything for that family? Bus pass, bus tokens, a referral for food, a referral for clothing. If you can answer yes, that for that day you have done everything for that family, then you know that your role as a social worker has been effective. Ready to go? All right. In closing, you know, for me, 45 minutes, I'm just getting started in 45 minutes. You know, I teach the introduction to 20, and you know, we have 3-hour classes, so at 3 minutes, I take a break. I'm ready to move on. One of my other passions, you know, sometimes we have to take care of ourselves. You know, I used to have an instructor who used to keep a football in her trunk, and every time she was stressed out, she'd stop at a park and shoot some hoops. So for me, and we all, it's very important that we do this, that we take care of our emotional, you know, our emotional self, is that I write poetry. Mm-hmm. And so, in closing, because I have to, I would like to read one of my poems that I wrote a long time ago. Actually, I wrote it in 2001, so it has been a long time. So I'd like to leave, and before I do, I'd like to thank you again one more time for allowing me to be your keynote speaker. It has been a great honor. This poem is called Making a Difference. Our days are filled with hustle and bustle. We always seem to be on the go. We shuffle our schedules and eat our lunch quickly, for we know we just can't go slow. We write reports and home visits we need to make. We must see children and parents monthly, for our job is what it dictates. We run around asking questions with feelings of frustration in the air, only to find a lot of confusion, for our answers are not always there. Our everyday lives move forward, and we take one day at a time. We do what we need to for the children, for it's their future we must not decline. Social work can be demanding, and our hearts may not take a rest. But social work is also rewarding, for this job is what you do best. Being a social worker is not easy, and at times it isn't any fun. But don't let this discourage you, for the difference you make can be in just one.